Most developers hit the same wall. You're pasting the same file into a chat window for the third time, manually copying an edit back into your editor, then running the tests yourself to see what broke. There's a faster way to work, and this episode gives you the mental model for it. By the end, you'll have Claude Code running inside a real project and know exactly when to reach for it. Here's exactly what this episode delivers. You'll understand what kind of tool Claude Code is and how it's different from the AI tools you're already using. You'll get it installed and opened inside a real project folder. And you'll walk away knowing when it earns its place in your workflow and when it doesn't. No mystery, no build-up. Just a clear picture of a tool that's genuinely worth understanding. Let's name the friction clearly, because if you've used AI chat tools for coding, you already feel it. You're working on a real task, something like adding validation to a registration endpoint. You open the chat window, you paste in the relevant file, you ask your question, you get an answer, you copy the code back into your editor, you run the tests. Something breaks. You paste the error back into the chat, but now the chat has forgotten some of the context from 3 messages ago, so you paste the file in again. This loop works, it genuinely helps. But notice what you're doing. You are manually carrying context back and forth between your project and a tool that can't see your project. You are the bridge. Every paste, every copy, every test run, that's you doing the work the tool can't do. This is AI that talks about your code. What we're going to look at today is AI that works inside it. Claude Code is an agentic coding tool from Anthropic. It runs in your terminal, and it's also available through IDE integrations and a desktop and web app. Check the official docs for the current options, because these expand over time. Let's define agentic, because it's one of those words that gets used without explanation. Agentic means you give it a goal, and it figures out what to do. It reads your files, edits them, runs commands, uses tools, observes the results, and reports back. It operates inside your real project. Not a sandboxed window, not a fresh conversation with no memory. Your actual project directory with your actual files. The mental model shift is this: less assistant answering questions, more collaborator with terminal access. Here's a concrete example of what that means. Say you tell it, add input validation to the user registration endpoint. With a chat tool, you'd need to find the right file yourself, paste it in, get the edit back, apply it manually, then run the test yourself. With Claude Code, it finds the file, reads the existing code, proposes the change as a diff you can review, and waits for your approval before touching anything. That last part matters. We'll come back to it. 2 honest comparisons. Not here to knock either tool, just to draw the lines clearly. First, versus browser chat. A chat window has no persistent view of your project. Every conversation starts close to fresh. You manually carry context in by pasting files, and you manually carry the results out by copying and applying edits yourself. Claude Code holds your project in view across the whole session and acts directly inside it. The bridge is gone. Second, versus editor autocomplete. Autocomplete is excellent at what it does, completing the line or function you're already writing based on what's immediately around your cursor. It works at the character and line level. Claude Code works at the task level. It can span multiple files, execute commands, and react to what happens. These are genuinely different jobs, and many developers will use both. They don't replace each other. Now let's get it running. I'm going to be direct about something first. I'm not going to give you the exact install command here, because install methods and package names change, and a script that states the wrong command wastes your time. Claude Code is a command line tool. You install it, you sign in with an Anthropic account, and you launch it from inside a project directory. The official Claude Code documentation has a quick start section. Go there, follow the steps for your operating system, then come back. The quick start is short, this shouldn't take long. A few things to check for as you're setting up. First, you'll need an Anthropic account and access to Claude Code. Check the current Anthropic pricing page for what's required, because this changes. Second, when the install is done and you've signed in, the test is simple. Open a terminal, navigate into a project folder you already have, type the launch command from the docs, and get a prompt. If you see a prompt waiting for input, you're in. Once you're inside Claude Code in a real project folder, here's what I want you to do first. And this is important. Don't ask it to change anything yet. Give it a scoped, read-only task. Something like, look at the files in this project and give me a plain English description of what it does and how it's structured. Or, find every place this function is called across the codebase. Pick something that requires it to explore, not edit. The reason for this is that you want to watch it work before you trust it with changes. You'll see it navigate through your files, make observations, form a picture of the codebase, all the manual spelunking you'd normally do yourself. And you'll start to build a sense for how it thinks and what it's good at. The interface is a prompt inside your terminal or a panel in your IDE if you're using that integration. Either way, you type your goal, you send it, and you watch it work. When it needs to do something that affects your project, it'll ask. When it has something to show you, it shows you. Here are the task shapes where Claude Code earns its place. Tasks that touch multiple files, refactors, renames, updating an interface, and all the places that use it. Tedious work where the pattern is clear, but the execution is mechanical. Exploring a codebase you don't know well, especially useful when you've just joined a project or picked up something you haven't touched in months. Making a targeted change and running the test to verify it worked. Repetitive work across a codebase, updating imports, reformatting, applying a consistent pattern everywhere. Now, where it's not the right first tool, if you have a one-off conceptual question, how does this algorithm work? Or what's the difference between these two approaches? A chat tool answers that faster and with less overhead. If you're doing exploratory brainstorming about architecture, where you want to think through options without committing to anything, a conversation is the right shape for that. And if you don't yet have a clear goal yourself, if you're still figuring out what you're even trying to do, the agent doesn't have enough to work with. Sharpen the goal first, then bring it to Claude Code. 2 mistakes that trip people up when they start. The first is treating Claude Code like a chatbot, writing a vague one-liner, clean up my code or make this better, and expecting a useful result. Claude Code does better when you give it a real goal. Not a paragraph, but a specific outcome. What file, what behavior, what done looks like. Vague prompts produce vague results from any tool. With an agent, vague prompts also produce unexpected actions. The second mistake is running it outside a project folder. Claude Code works by reading what's around it. It builds its understanding of your project by exploring the actual files in your actual directory. Open it in an empty folder or in your home directory, and it has nothing to orient around. Always navigate into a real project directory before you launch it. 3 things that need to stick from this episode. 1. Claude Code is an agent that operates inside your project. It reads files, edits them, runs commands, and observes results in your actual project directory, not a chat window. 2. You stay in control. It proposes, you review. Edits come as diffs. Commands go through a permission prompt. Treat this as a workflow discipline, not a guarantee. You still need to read what it proposes before you approve it. 3. Give it a real goal in a real project folder. The tool is only as useful as the context and specificity you bring to it. Here's your exercise for this episode. Install Claude Code using the official Quick Start docs. Open it inside a project you already have. Any project, any language. Give it one scoped, read-only task. Describe what this project does, or find where a specific piece of functionality lives. Don't ask it to make changes yet. Just watch it explore and report. That single session will teach you more about how the tool thinks than anything else I could tell you here. Next episode, your first real edit. How to ask Claude Code to make a change, how to read the diff it produces, and how to approve it safely. If this episode gave you the mental model, the next one makes it practical. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And if you have questions after your first session, drop them in the comments. I read them and they shape what goes into future episodes.